Julie, great to be with you as always. Today's question for you is, how can leaders best deal with intense emotions that come up on their teams?
I'm just, no, I'm pretending to be Zen. This is a tough one.
It is.
One of the first thing, I mean, there's so many things, but to keep it brief, the first thing that I feel has been most useful for a lot of the leaders that I work with is the reality that you cannot successfully meet high emotion with logic.
Mhm.
And a lot of people will do that, right? Like I come into your office, can you believe what so and so did and blah blah blah. And my as a manager, I want to make it okay. And so my first reaction might be like, Scott, just calm down, calm
Yeah.
down. And you were like, you're telling me to calm down? And it just
Yep.
rises. So the one kind of antidote to trying to get more in balance, like emotion, logic, balance, I guess maybe the quick answer is you have to get the emotion out to get the logic in.
Yes.
And so the antidote to get the emotion out, in my opinion, is empathy,
Yes.
validation. So, oh, I see you're upset. I see you're really upset. Okay, let me just
Yes.
let you have that, right? And so I give a little bit of empathy, and ideally the emotions start to come down. And now we're ready for logic. Now we're ready for a conversation.
I
My
love that.
husband, this also applies at home, I think,
Yeah.
is quite often where we will try and continually meet high emotion with logic, but
Yeah.
get the emotion out with a little bit of empathy to get the logic back in, and then you can hopefully have a good conversation about whatever the issue is.
I love that. What sage advice. To to add to that, I would add name it to tame it. I think this might come from Dan Siegel, who came up with name it to tame it. But in any case, psychologists talk about name it to tame it. Why? Because if we can accurately label the emotion we're having, the research suggests it seems to almost give us a handle on that emotion, helps us understand it. When we get into our language centers and say, what is this that I'm feeling? Is this disappointment or frustration or ambivalence? We're activating more logical language centers. So it's almost like it turns down the heat on the emotion. And the rest of the research suggests it's almost like messages is received by central command in the brain, right? When you're just feeling the emotion, our limbic system doesn't really have language. It just has, "Arr." And when our logical language centers can say, that's frustration, it's almost like it signals the emotional centers, I got the message. I got it, and I can do something with this so you can relax a little bit. It drafts right off what you're saying. We have to first acknowledge the emotion. And you role modeled something that a lot of leaders miss. It's okay to bring some emotion back to the person. If they come in, I'm so frustrated right now, and you're like, there is no need to be frustrated, but it doesn't help them, right? But if you, as you role modeled, bring like, I can hear your frustration, and you put a little her into the frustration, it's like, oh, you feel me, you get me. It's all part of emotional intelligence, which research suggests helps us do better, perform better because we feel better.
Oh, that's a good one. It also, real quick, makes me think that some leaders sometimes don't want to do that because maybe they don't agree with why
Yes.
that person is frustrated. And
Yes.
so maybe just an add-on, a little asterisk is empathy doesn't mean you agree.
Exactly. Well
Empathy is
put.
just, I see you, I just whacked my elbow, what you're experiencing, and recognizing, validating that, but it doesn't mean agreement.
Right on. Thank you so much, Julie.
You're welcome. Thank you, Scott.
Woohoo!